Hey friends, it's Rick N9GSU here, and I'm going to do a video about my initial impressions of my new radio, the Xiegu G90 Portable HF Ham Radio. I'm Rick N9GSU. Welcome to my channel. I've been doing videos for years, but they're mostly of me performing music or of doing food reviews. I've never really thought about doing some ham radio videos, but I've decided to kind of start doing that too. So let's just kind of see how this goes. A little background. As I mentioned, I've been a ham for over 35 years. I've done just about everything in the hobby that you can imagine. The last couple of years I've become very involved in the Parks on the Air program, and I love that program. I love hunting from home, but what I love even more is going out to state and national parks and setting up and activating parks. It gives you a little bit of exercise. You walk around, you might pack your stuff in on a bicycle. It's challenging because you have to find a way that an antenna works in a portable setting. There's not always supports nearby that you can throw a wire up in the tree in some of the parks that I operate. It's a great program, and the community built around Parks on the Air is just fantastic. So in 35 years as a ham, I have never ever purchased a brand new HF radio. Not once. I've always bought used. I'm a pretty frugal ham radio operator, which is kind of an oxymoron, right? I see guys going out and spending $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 on radio, and I just can't imagine myself doing that. So I've always bought used. But this came up from a company called Radio Oddity. They had it on a flash sale a few weeks ago. I got the radio, the cooling fan, and the digital interface for just a bit over $400. And I decided to pull the trigger on it, and I'm so glad I did. So this is the Xiegu G90. Now this is not an operating video. I'm not going to teach you how to operate the radio. There are tons of videos to do that, and there's a Facebook group devoted to it. I'm just going to give you my initial impressions from a long-time ham. First of all, size. This is a great portable operating radio. Here's my hand. You can tell I can pretty much cover the entire radio with my hand, and I do not have huge hands. It's not light, but it feels solid. Now this has the cooling fan attached to it, but easily transported with one hand, no problem at all. So it's great for portable operating. It is all band, 160 through 10 meters, and you got sideband, CW, digital, all that good stuff. So whatever your mode of operating, you can operate with this radio. It puts out 20 watts, and I've given it pretty heavy use in about this 6 weeks, and it does great on 20 watts. Last night I was sitting out here in my backyard with a long wire antenna that I built through a 9-to-1 unun with a stub feeder, and gosh, I worked the Canary Islands and Spain and Costa Rica and Brazil and Saskatchewan, all kinds of really interesting places, just on 15 watts, which is what I typically run this radio at. So it's portable. It's easily maneuvered with one hand. So how about the operating? I'm not going to operate it today. I've got some videos in the works for that. I only have found three minor annoyances with this radio. First of all, up on top you've got your band and your up and down switches and your mode switches, and I'm going to tell you these are really close together. So when I was first getting used to the radio, I would press two switches at once. That doesn't work. Sometimes that throws it to a different menu mode and you're completely lost. So that's a minor annoyance, and I got used to it pretty quickly, but those switches are very close together. The screen has a ton of information, a waterfall, all kinds of stuff. That screen is very small. There is a lot of information packed into that screen, but it's very small, and my eyes are not as good as they used to be. That was a minor annoyance. It took me a little bit to tweak that screen to where I could see everything that I felt like I needed to see. So be aware, if you have some vision issues like I do, that small screen is going to take some work. And the other minor annoyance is this tuning knob. It's quite small, and it took some real getting used to that tuning knob. There is a aftermarket tuning knob that is available. I decided not to purchase it after using this for 3 or 4 weeks because I got used to the small tuning knob. But when I first started using it, it really was a pretty major annoyance. So you might want to be aware of that. One thing I do want to mention, now I bought this with the cooling fan that attaches to the radio. I think that's a necessity if you're operating out of a climate-controlled environment. This radio tends to run a little bit hot. And this cooling fan has saved the day for me, because I've been doing some operating in parks where it's been in the mid-90s and the humidity has been just almost sky high. And it keeps the radio cool. There have been some reports of the radio shutting off when it gets too hot. So I highly recommend, if you're going to be operating outdoors, that you buy the cooling fan, especially if you're going to be operating digital modes. And also, this cooling fan has legs that pop down, so you can set it on a table and see the screen as easily as your eyes will allow. So, the Xiegu G90. 3 minor annoyances. The top buttons are really close together. The tuning knob is very small, and the screen is very small. But I work through those really, really quickly. For just over 400 bucks, this is an incredible deal. I'm absolutely sold on it. If I was going to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give this radio a 9, which is a really high rating. The antenna tuner is fantastic. The analyzer is fantastic. It has just tuned and analyzed everything that I have thrown at it out in the field. And no major complaints with this radio. So there you go, a quick overview of the Xiegu G90 HF ham radio. 7.3.